All right, now the book, When Hope Whispers, is a powerful book. It's written by Zoleka Mandela and describes the many trials she has faced, from addiction and the loss of a child to cancer. Zoleka joins us in studio to tell us more. Zoleka, welcome to Morning Live. It's so lovely to have you.
Good morning, Leanne. Thank you so much for having me here.
Such a pleasure. So I ask you, how long does it take to put a book like this together? And you tell me you picked up a pen in January.
In January. It's as unbelievable as it is. It started in January. I think I had signed a contract by June with Jakarta Media. And by September, my book had gone into the editing process.
Sure. So it was almost like therapy for you.
It was. It was. Obviously some kind of outlet. But I think I also needed my way of giving thanks to, you know, breast cancer at the time.
Amazing. I mean, you know, one of the reviews that I've read is that it's a gritty account of your life. And I kind of like that, because that is exactly what it is. It's a no-holds-barred account of everything you've been through. Was it hard for you to reveal so much about yourself?
It was. It was extremely hard, especially having to disclose how I felt as a parent, that I had failed my kids, obviously having chosen my addictions in the past over my kids. So that was quite difficult. I think in any situation, having to go through the book and having to deal with your demons, so to speak, was quite difficult.
Yeah. You know, one of the, I will never, I remember that morning after that amazing concert before the Soccer World Cup, when we were reporting on the story of Zinani, your daughter's death in a car accident. I mean, that just took us all by shock. But at that time, you were actually in a hospital yourself.
I was.
I mean, just talk us through what it was like for you. What did this do for you as a parent?
I think that's one chapter that I find quite painful in my book, is that I'd share on exactly where I was and how the news was delivered to me. I hadn't seen my daughter for 10 days prior to her passing. I had been hospitalized for attempted suicide and depression due to a drug-induced psychotic episode. So, you know, I was picked up. Obviously, everything is quite a blur, but it's still quite, I don't want to give out too much of the book, obviously, but that was quite a difficult experience. But I'm just so fortunate that I've had so much support. Obviously from my family and everybody.
I mean, everybody looks at the Mandela family, and everybody has this image of the Mandela family, and you come from, I'm going to tell you this, a privileged lifestyle, one of the most powerful families in Africa, so known. Nelson Mandela's your grandfather. You must have this amazing life. And yet, you talking about sexual abuse, drug addiction, losing 2 children, fighting cancer. You know, this is the reality of life. And I mean, it's just, how did your family feel, you being so open about this in your book?
They've been so supportive. My family's always been supportive, but I think I needed to, I think it's important for people to know that, you know, my life has never been a glorified one, and nothing about my childhood has been normal. And I know for a fact that people are going to pay attention to what I'm saying. I know that my message is going to be heard across the globe. So I'm hoping that, you know, it does obviously change lives, and it encourages people to at least try and change themselves. Yeah.
You know, you open the book, and it's quite amazing. This opening really got me, especially after seeing the movie that's coming out now, which I imagine you've seen as well. And I'd love to get your comment on it, which I will do in a while.
I have.
The book opens by you saying, by the time I was born on the 9th of April 1980, my mother knew how to strip and assemble an AK-47 in exactly 38 seconds. She was 20 years old, trained in guerrilla warfare, and already a fully fledged member of Mkhonto Wesizwe. I mean, that is no normal life to be born into.
It isn't.
Yeah.
It isn't.
How was your childhood?
My childhood was quite painful. Obviously, you know, the moving around, the sexual abuse, the physical abuse, but just going to what you were talking about the movie and how it, you know, you don't see, I think people tend to find it easier to forget that my family are human beings.
Yeah.
And we're capable of flaws. We have flaws. We make mistakes. But at the end of the day, we have feelings and their emotions. And, you know, so what I appreciate so much about the movie is that, you know, you don't just see my grandfather as a politician, but you also see him as a father. Yeah. And a father that feels he's failed his kids. And I relate to that so much. You know, in the sense that I also have failed my kids. And although everybody would think, you know, everything is just so perfect and glamorous in terms of our world,
Yeah. You know, I see the foreword written by your grandmother, and I gather that you have a very close relationship with Winnie Mandela. What is it like with her? Has she been a big influence in your life?
She has. She's been amazing, obviously. You know, my grandmother has never missed a single chemotherapy treatment, and that is during the course of about 6 months. She's never missed a doctor's appointment, so she's always been there for me. Emotionally, I gather a lot of my strength from her.
Yeah. You also talk about a moment you spent with your grandfather in the book as well, when you were mourning your daughter.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What did he tell you?
Oh, okay. So, it was obviously just after my daughter had passed away. And I remember he walked into the room and he sat me on his lap and, you know, after a couple of minutes, because I'd been like, no, I'm too old for this. At the time, I was about 30, and I'm like, no, Granddad, I can't sit on your lap, you know. And he was like, come here, sit down. And he said to me that, you know, there's so many people out there who've lost kids. And he said, I've lost kids myself. And he was like, but there's a reason why you've lost a child. And that is so that you can be an inspiration to many other women.
Sure.
And that, I think, is something, is almost like a mantra in my head every day.
Wow.
Something that I have to remember, and something that motivates me to keep focused on what the message of the book is.
That's amazing. Did that in a way pull you right? Because, you know, when I think about it, I mean, when you sat down and you spoke to me, you said, started in January and I needed to do something. You know, suddenly there weren't drugs, there weren't alcohol, there wasn't all the stuff to preoccupy you. And when you go through what you've been through, because, you know, after you lost your daughter, you lost another son, and you went through chemotherapy, and you had a double mastectomy, one would think that you would turn to drugs more, but you didn't. You've pulled yourself straight. Why? What inspired you?
I think the book. I think my family. I think remembering, you know, words of encouragement like my grandfather's given me, and I think what my grandparents have taught me, that, you know, it doesn't matter who you are, that you always have the power in you to change somebody else's life. But I couldn't have been that influential or been able to change somebody else's life for the positive if I hadn't made my own personal changes.
Yeah. Oh, I want to keep talking to you for the rest of the morning. I really do, but I have to wrap. But it's probably a good thing, because we're just going to make people buy the book.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Let's just end it here. We'll keep everyone hanging. There's also some fabulous photographs in there, including one with you and Michael Jackson. I know, and I like the way you say he reminded you of yourself, because he's so shy.
I am. And people find that very difficult to believe, that I'm actually very shy.
Yeah. Sometimes the shy people are the and that's probably why you started using other things to bring you out your shell.
Exactly.
And become something that people expected you to become.
Exactly.
All right. You're amazing. Zoleka Mandela, a true story. The foreword is written by her grandmother. It's moving, it's powerful, it's beautiful. There's so many lessons to be learned. And I've had tears in my eyes all morning, I have to tell you, while I've been reading this, because as a mother and as a woman, I just think it's a challenge, but you've succeeded. Well done.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, let's take